You know, I've never been much of a fan of Damian Wayne in terms of Robins, but after watching this film, I have learned one thing. Do not give this boy a sword. What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and here's my official review for the newest DC animated film titled Son of Batman. Now, before I begin, I would just like to thank my good friend out there for actually helping me get an early copy of this, so thanks, man. I owe you one. Now, this particular film actually goes over the story of how Damian Wayne, who is the son of both Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne, becomes the next Robin. And the story starts off with Damian being trained at the League of Assassins by Talia and Ra's al Ghul, when suddenly the League is actually attacked by Deathstroke's forces. And in the process, Ra's al Ghul is killed, and Talia decides that in order to keep her son safe, she believes that it would be best if he actually spent some time with his father Bruce. And when Bruce actually meets Damian for the first time, it's he doesn't really believe it at first, and Damian's a bit kind of a dick to him. And you find that's kind of one of his main personal traits over the course of the film, because Damian's a pretty arrogant kid, and he has a certain mentality that has been taught to him by the League of Assassins, and Bruce really has to try his best to kind of teach him another way to handle this, because he has great skills, and over the course of the film, even Bruce acknowledges that Damian has some very highly keen skills, so he decides that, okay, let's give this a try, and actually makes him the newest Robin. However, over the course of his time being Robin, Talia al Ghul is captured by Deathstroke, and then he gives Damian an ultimatum of having him and Damian face off in one final clash, and that's really all I want to say in terms of the film. There's much more that happens in this film, but I want to save that for you guys to enjoy. Now, I have to tell you guys, I've never really been a big fan of Damian Wayne. He's actually been my least favorite of all the Robins, simply because I felt that it didn't make much sense for Bruce to want to make him a Robin just because of how, aggressive and deadly he was. Because Damian kills people in this film long before he's Robin, and I'm not sure that he would actually make someone like that Robin so young, because this was kind of the issue that we had with Jason Todd, as in, he had the potential to be this bloodthirsty, but that didn't happen until after his death. But I have to say that after watching this film, I think they actually handled the storyline very well. I'm now really interested to actually get to know more about Damian, despite my personal problems with him. What I really liked about this film in a whole was I liked the overall animation. It wasn't quite as stylized as I've seen in other films. It definitely had a much more grittier look to it, and I really liked that. I also liked the voice acting across the board. Everyone did a really great job, especially the kid that actually did the voice of Damian Wayne. He really did a really great job portraying this really arrogant kid who really doesn't take crap from anyone and is willing to stand up for himself. I also really like that they brought in Nightwing in this film, and he actually had a lot more screen time, I believe, than he did in Under the Red Hood. And we actually get to see somewhat of a fight between Damian and Nightwing. So it was really fun. It was really good to see two Robins go at it. And I'm not going to tell you who actually wins that fight, but let's just say the winner walks out a little bit cut up. That's all I'll say. And I also really liked how there was a certain connection between Deathstroke and Damian, and I really liked that they made it personal. There's a personal reason for why Deathstroke attacks the League of Assassins, and I'm really glad that they brought that to the front. I'm not sure if that's how it was in the comic books, but even if it wasn't, I'm really glad that they brought that element here. Batman is really not, he's given a good enough screen time, but I'm glad that they acknowledge that this is about Damian's story, and so he kind of takes a secondary seat while still sometimes feeling like the main character of this film. So I'm really glad that they balanced that. Now, I'm not going to say that this film was perfect. There were definitely a couple of problems I had with it. I liked that Deathstroke had a personal reason for what he was doing, but I didn't like his overall plan. What his overall plan to want to make the League of Assassins or his little organization great, I thought was really stupid. And it sounded like the kind of thing that you would hear, a villain try this in like a Saturday morning cartoon. It was just two different elements of planning. His personal reasons were good, but his execution I thought was just ridiculous. And there's a certain moment between Bruce, Talia, and Damian that I personally believe was a bit ruined for how it was handled. I could see where they were going, and I could see what they were attempting, but the fact that that, as far as I remember, they didn't let it play out the same way as it did in the comic books, and I was a little bit disappointed with that, because if they had handled it the same way it was done in the comics, it would have made it a lot more personal and heartbreaking, and they just didn't do that. They kind of took the cheap way out. But despite this, this is a really great animated film, and I would absolutely recommend that all of you guys check this out when it releases on May 6th. I'm not going to say it's as good as older Batman films like Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood, or Return of the Joker, but it's definitely in the next tier down. So if I had to give this movie a rating, I would give it a solid B+. Definitely check this out when it comes out, and if you like this movie review, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to keep track of me and my future movie reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching, you're awesome, and I'll see you next time.